Kenya's president is under fire for recent tax reform proposals as the government is seeking to overhaul the tax system under pressure from international groups like the IMF. This has led to massive protests as an Occupy Parliament movement has sprung up in the past week, which led to civil unrest as many in Kenya believe these reforms are being pushed by Western special interest groups and will serve to impoverish and stifle the Kenyan economy. President Ruto has earned a reputation among many as having one of the world's most aggressive tax stances. But supporters of the president believe these reforms are necessary in order to combat inflation, provide public infrastructure, and maintain Kenya's perceived solvency among the international community. So I want to discuss what the president's proposals are, why the administration is likely pushing for these changes, and what this could mean for international investors as well as the people of Kenya. But first, the backstory. Kenya's government has been struggling with mounting debt and possible insolvency as the cost of servicing debt is now approaching 77% of the government's annual revenue. This obviously leaves little revenue for maintaining government activities without incurring more debt and possibly entering a debt spiral. President Ruto responded in 2023 by proposing reforms of the tax system in Kenya, which included raising the top tax rate from 30% to 35%, adding a mandatory 3% salary deduction from employees, and doing that in order to fund the national housing development. He also included a doubling of the value-added tax from 8% to 16%, creating a digital tax service which would track salaries and add on a 5-day minimum remittance period for people to pay their taxes, which they think would improve the cash flow of the government. If President Ruto's budget projections are accurate, his proposal would increase revenue to the government from $15 billion per year to $21 billion a year, which would decrease the cost of servicing the debt down to around 50%, which would double the expendable funds the government has access to. But what about the people who are protesting these reforms? It comes down to who is going to face the burden of these taxes, as well as a lack of faith in the government. Although Kenya has experienced growth in critical industries, many Kenyans feel the economy is leaving them behind. And doubling a tax on fuel and raising wages on income earners directly impacts people who are struggling to pay bills. Introducing broad digitalization and more rigorous tax enforcement impacts gray market jobs, which were effectively tax exempt for many. So furthermore, a question posed by critics is, where would this money go? As much of the Kenyan tax revenue right now goes to service foreign debt, would the money raised by taxes simply be siphoned out of the economy, even if they were to generate greater revenue by increasing the taxes? In which case, Kenya would find themselves in the same exact position in a few years, except the people would be under an even greater tax burden. And one other point which I think has ignited the protest is the perception that it's foreign organizations, not the Kenyan government, making the call. There were pictures of President Ruto sitting in the American president's chair, which led to a perception among many that President Ruto was submitting to U.S. influence. This may or may not be fair, but that is the impression that many had. So in my judgment, I can see an argument for Kenya having tax reforms if it's being done to increase investments in the country's infrastructure. However, if the tax reforms are just going to become justification for wasteful spending or increased debt, I feel this could be a significant setback for the country and could drive away investors. Now, Kenya is a country that is blessed with excellent natural resources and a productive and educated workforce. So for them to struggle financially shows that some type of reform is needed, although only time will tell if President Ruto is making the right call by pushing higher taxes. But I want to know what you guys think, particularly if you're from Kenya. Do you feel President Ruto is making a correct but difficult call to ensure the solvency of the Kenyan government? Or is this an instance of an African country being pressured into unproductive forms by the West, where the money raised will just be drained from the economy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, do you like these long-form research videos? I was thinking of getting back to making more of these. So if this video brought value to you, give me a like and a follow. That really helps out my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.